right now. Okay, right. And we're going to start right now. We are going to do an exercise about what we studied last session. It means on Tuesday. Do you remember that we were talking about there is, there are, singular and plural, how many, how much, okay? So we are going to start doing this exercise here, as you can see. I'm going to set up my microphone. Okay, okay. As you can see in this exercise, you have the answers. You have here the answers, no? The answers, okay? For example, the answer number 1 is there are 4 bottles of milk there. Answer number 2 is there are 3 kilos of apples in the basket. Number 3, there isn't much butter in the fridge. Number 4, there are 5 chairs in the room. Number 5, there isn't much water in the jar. The last one, there are 10 toys on the floor. So here you have to make the questions, no? You have the answers, so you are going to make the questions. Then you have to use how many or how much. It depends on the subject or the thing you are talking about. For example, here you are talking about 4 more bottles of milk. No? So you have to choose between how many or how much. Then you have to use there is or there are. You have to take into account the answer, no? And you have to change the order. So did you understand what you have to do? Yes or no? Tell me, Carolina, Diana, Lina, Paola, Jimena, Juliana, Diana, tell me, you understand what you have to do? You have to make the questions using how many, how much, there is, there are, according to the answers you have there. Yes or no?
Yes, teacher, but
Yes.
an example.
Okay, I'm going to do number 1. I'm going to develop the number 1. For example, here, there are 4 bottles of milk there. That's the answer, no? That's the answer. So I'm going to make the question. Taking into account that we are talking about bottles of milk, that's how many. How many what? How many bottles of milk? It's a question, so I have to change the order of the sentence. I am not going to say there are. Now I'm going to use are there until here. For example, how many bottles of milk are there? There are 4 bottles of milk. Okay? In Spanish, remember. Estoy preguntando, ¿cuántas botellas de agua hay? ¿De botellas de leche hay? La respuesta, hay 4 botellas de leche, ¿no? Pero acá vamos a hacer lo contrario, ¿no? Realmente lo que yo hago, o los solos ejercicios, encontramos que se hace la pregunta, ustedes responden, acá no. Teniendo en cuenta ustedes la respuesta que se está dando, van a construir la pregunta, ¿ok? And in the question, you have to use how many, how much, ¿ok? Is it clear?
Yes.
Now? Okay, so you're going to make the questions and please send the questions in the chat, okay? You're going to send your questions in the chat, okay? You're going to write there the questions. You're going to put the number, for example, number 2, how many? Number 3, how much? Number 4, how many? And so on, okay? So I'm going to give you a couple of minutes in order for you to do that exercise, and then I will check the answers out, okay? So go ahead, guys. Okay, people. So we are going to check the answers out. We are going to see number 2. Okay, number two. This one. We are going to check number 2. It says there are 3 kilos of apples in the basket. There are 3 kilos of apples in the basket. Here, I can make 2 questions. I have the opportunity, or I have the chance to make 2 questions. Number 1, how many apples are there in the basket? This is the first one. Look at this. How many apples are there in the basket? Okay. And the answer, there are 3 kilos of apples, no? Or I can make another one. I can make another question. How many kilos of apples are there in the basket? Okay. You have those 2 options. How many apples are there in the basket? Or how many kilos of apples are there in the basket? Okay. In the chat, let me see. For example, Carolina says, how many kilos of apples in the basket? Le faltó el are there. Lina Marcela dice, how many kilos of apples are there in the basket? Perfect. Let me see. Natalia Velasquez says, how much kilos of apples there are in the basket? No, Natalia, remember. Kilos or apples, cualquiera de las dos, kilos or apples, ambos son contables. So we have to use how many, ¿no? Many para contables, much para no contables. En este caso, si hablamos de kilos de manzanas, son contables. Si hablamos solamente de manzanas, también son contables. And the other thing is you have to change, no? There are is in affirmative, are there in question, okay? See another one, no more. Okay, Daniel Pinson writes, how many apples in the basket? Okay, but are there? How many apples are there in the basket? No, are there in the basket? Let's see, number 3. In number 3, we have the answer. There isn't much butter in the fridge. There isn't much butter in the fridge. We are talking about the butter, and the butter is non-countable, no? The butter is non-countable, so I have to use how much to make the question. How much what? How much butter? How much butter? In the affirmative, in the answer, you have there is, no? So I have to change the order, is there. And the complement in this case is in the fridge. How much butter is in the fridge? And that's all. How much butter is in the fridge? How much? Because we are talking about the butter and the butter is not countable, so how much? And is there, because we have to change the order. Now, how much butter is there in fridge? There isn't much butter in the fridge, and that's all. Let's see your answers. Carolina Gonzalez says, how much butter in the fridge? Okay, but is there, no? How much butter is there in the fridge, Carolina? The one, Diana says, how much butter is in the fridge? Perfect. No more. Okay. Next, let's continue with the following one. Next, number 4, we have the answer. There are 5 chairs in the room. So, we are talking about chairs. Chairs are countable. Then I have to use how many? How many what? How many chairs? How many chairs? There are, but for questions, So I have to change and says, are there in the room? The complement in the room. And that's all. How many shares are in the room? Okay. We are talking about shares which are countable, so I have to use how many. And in the answer, you use there are, but here I have to change the order, no? Are there? And the complement in the room, and that's all. How many shares are there in the room? Oh, okay, let's see your answers. Carolina Gonzalez says, how many shares are in the room? Perfect. Juliana nos dice, how many 5 shares in the room are there? No, remember, Juliana, you can't answer the question. If you say how many 5 shares, you are saying cuántas 5 sillas, no? 5 is the answer. So you don't write the number. How many shares? No more. And remember the order, no? How many shares are there in the room? Natalia Velasquez says, how many shares are there in the room? Perfect. Juliana, how many shares in the room are there? Y hay un cambio en el orden, ¿no? First, are there, and then in the room. Jimena nos dice, how many shares in the room? But le hace falta are there, Jimena. Okay, let's see with the following one. Number 5. The sentence, the question, we have to make the question, but the answer is there isn't much water in the jar. We are talking about the water. The water is non-countable, no? Non-countable. You can't count the water. So how much? How much what? How much water? You have there isn't in the answer. So the question is there. You change the order and the complement. How much water is there in the jar? And that's all. How much water is there in the jar? And the answer, there isn't much water in the jar. So remember, how much? Because we are talking about water and water is not countable. Here is there is, because it's affirmative, but in the question you have to change is there. Okay, and that's all. And the last one, we are going to do the last one. In the last one, there are 10 toys on the floor. We are talking about toys, and we are saying 10. So, countable, no? Toys, countable. And if we say the number, 10 toys, okay, so it's very clear that are countable, no? So I have to ask the question with how many. How many what? How many toys? Are there in the answer, in the question, like this, are there on the floor? And that's all. How many toys are there on the floor? Yes, and let's see the answers. Let's see what you did. How many toys in the floor, says Paola. Remember, how many toys are there? Juliana says, how many 5 shares? Okay, no, that's, ya la habíamos revisado. How many apples, how many shares? How many toys are in the floor? Daniel, le faltó el there. How many toys are there in the floor? Jimena nos envía otra, is there a lot of water in the fridge? Otra forma de contestar, ok. De preguntar, correct. ¿Listo? So, in order to make question, it's a little difficult, no? When you listen or you look at the question, you have an idea about how to answer, but when you have the answer, it's more difficult to make the question, no? El ejercicio normal es que nosotros hagamos la pregunta y ustedes contesten, pero sí que lo contrario es difícil porque generar o crear las preguntas es más complejo. Hacer las preguntas es más complejo. ¿Por qué? Porque en este caso, por ejemplo, tenemos que tener en cuenta si es contable, si no es contable, si lleva el how many, how much, si es uno solo, si es varios, si es singular o plural para el is there or are there, ¿sí? Tener en cuenta el complemento y así para todo el aprendizaje de un idioma es mucho más fácil contestar, ¿no? Porque en la pregunta, pues ya uno con la pregunta ya tiene una base para hacer la respuesta, ¿no? For example, what's your name? Entonces, my name is, más fácil. Entonces, cuando hacemos nosotros preguntas, como por ejemplo, le voy a escribir una acá, I'm going to write one question here. What do you do for a living? Okay, what do you do for a living? This is a very easy question, okay? But when you are going to make the question, you have to take into account the use of do and does, no? The do and does, no? And you have to take into account that here in this question, we have do here and do here, two do's, but they are completely different. This do is the auxiliary verb and this do is the verb, hacer. Do, auxiliary verb, do, verb, the central or the main verb of the sentence, ¿no? Les digo acá, para hacer una pregunta como esta es mucho más complejo, miren, porque ustedes acá en las preguntas generalmente se utilizan los auxiliares, do, does, did, will, ¿no? En esta pregunta tenemos dos do, y el primer do es el verbo auxiliar, y el segundo es el verbo principal de la oración, que es hacer. Este do no significa absolutamente nada, ¿no? Pero en español no significa nada, pero tenemos que utilizarlo para hacer la pregunta en inglés, ¿no? Si yo no utilizo ese do, la pregunta me va a quedar mal formulada. Y yo digo, what you do for a living, queda mal formulada, ¿sí? Generalmente hacer preguntas es un poco más complejo. Okay, guys, so I'm going to clean up this and we are going to continue with this one. Now, I'm going to add something. We are going to add something. We are talking about a singular plural, and there are how many, how much, but I'm going to add something very important. The use of any and some, okay? Any and some. When we use any and some in English, I'm going to write here any, some. It's for quantities. It's for quantities, por cantidades, ¿no? Por cantidades. And these two words can have different meanings. These two words can have different meanings. Y estas dos palabras pueden tener significados diversos. Pueden significar uno, bueno, y acá con las excepciones, ¿no? Alguno, algunos, o alguna, o algunas, ¿no? Ahí con las excepciones que tenemos. Pueden significar algo de, ninguno, puede significar también nada. Todo eso pueden significar esas dos palabras. ¿Okay? Todo eso, esas dos palabras pueden tener ese mismo significado. It depends on the sentence. Dependen de las oraciones en que lo estemos utilizando. ¿Okay? But, here is a big but. This any is used for questions and negative sentences. Okay? Any is used for questions and negative sentence. And some is used for affirmative sentence. Okay? That's what you have to take into account. Any, negative, and questions, some, affirmative sentence. Okay? It's important to take into account that. We are going to see some examples in order to be clear about that, no? For example, we have a question here. Do we need any X? Do we need any X? Entonces acá, ¿cómo entenderemos o cómo podemos comprender, cómo podemos interpretar esta pregunta? Do we need any X? ¿Qué nos indicará eso?
Nosotros necesitamos algunos huevos.
Ok, good. Nosotros necesitamos algunos huevos. Entonces acá este any lo podemos traducir, lo podemos entender como algunos. Y acá en la respuesta, yes, let's get some eggs. Entonces nos dicen sí, y vamos, y compremos, o traigamos, ¿qué dirá acá? Some eggs.
Algo de huevos.
Algunos huevos. ¿Sí ve? Do we need any eggs? ¿Necesitamos algunos huevos? Entonces acá este any es algunos. Acá, yes, let's get some eggs. Sí, vamos y compramos, vamos y traemos, vamos por algunos huevos. Ambas significan lo mismo, ¿sí? But this is a question, so we have to use any. This is an affirmative sentence, so we have to use some. Now, if I'm not going to answer affirmative this question, but I'm going to answer in a negative form, I'm going to say, no, we don't need any X. Look at this, we don't need any X. In this case, when we are going to translate into Spanish, no, nosotros no necesitamos ningún huevo. ¿Sí ve? We don't need any eggs. No, nosotros no necesitamos ningún huevo. Es acá, mire, el mismo N que tenemos acá, que nos lo traducimos como algunos, acá nos significa, nos dice ninguno. ¿Sí ve? Why? Because this is a negative sentence, don't, so I have to use any. Okay? Let's see another example. Here, it says, do we need any bread? So, nosotros necesitamos algo de pan, un poco de pan, algo de pan, ¿sí ve? Yes, let's get some bread. Sí, vamos por algo de pan. Compremos algo de pan, vamos por algo de pan. O podemos contestarla, no, we don't need any bread. No, nosotros no necesitamos nada de pan. ¿Sí ve? Entonces acá también dijimos que puede significar nada, ningún, algún, alguna, todo eso puede significar. ¿Ok? We are going to make an exercise right now here in this one. So, we are going to complete this dialogue. We are going to complete this dialogue between Amanda and Adam, no? There is a couple, a man and a woman, who is talking about some food. So we are going to complete with some or any. Let's see. For example, the store doesn't have any potato salad. Here, this is a negative sentence, so I have to use any. Then Adam says, well, we have lots of potatoes. Let's make any or some.
Some.
Any or
Some.
Some.
Okay,
Some.
Yes, some. Because it's an affirmative sentence. Okay. Next, okay, do we have
Some.
any or some?
Any. Any.
This is a question, so I have to use any. Any. Next, no. We need to buy any or some.
Any.
Any.
Some. Any.
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 Negativo.
Let's look at this. I'm going to write some. Why? Because the negative sentence is only the first one. This is the negative sentence. Here is another sentence. In this, what Adam says, there are two sentences. The first one is only no, and the other one is we need to buy some. Okay, ¿entendido o no?
Yes.
Acá,
Yes,
mira,
teacher.
hay un punto, ¿no? Ahí terminó ya. No es una oración completa, pero sí es una respuesta, el no. Para que fuera negativa esta oración, teníamos que tener acá, we don't need to buy, okay? But we don't have that, so it's an affirmative sentence and we have to add, or we have to complete with some. Okay, next. We need what?
Some.
Okay,
Some.
Onions too.
an affirmative sentence, so we have to use some. Next. Oh, I don't want
Any.
any. Yes, because it's a negative sentence. Any. Next. Let's get
Some.
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 Yes, some. Let's get some. Next. I don't want
Any.
Any.
any. Okay. And the last one, but let's put
Some.
Some.
some. Some. Okay, that's all. We have finished this exercise. We completed the sentences using any and some. This type of exercise and the use of these words, any and some, is very practical, I don't know how to say in English. Esto es muy metódico, o sea, esto no tiene, como decíamos nosotros, esto no tiene ciencia. O sea, nosotros utilizamos any, negativas, preguntas. That's all. Some, afirmativas. ¿Ok? No hay que buscarle más explicación a eso. ¿Ok? Ahora, que cuando encontramos las oraciones con any o some, depende si es afirmativa, si es negativa, si es pregunta, nosotros le damos el significado, ¿no? For example, here it says, the store doesn't have any potato salad. El almacén, la tienda, no tiene nada de ensalada de papa, ¿sí? En este caso. Okay, well, we have lots of potatoes, let's make some. Dice, bien, nosotros tenemos una gran cantidad de papas. Let's make some. Hagamos un poco o algo. ¿Algo qué? De ensalada de papa, ¿no? Es lo que está hablando él. Okay, do we need any mayonnaise? Okay, bien. ¿Nosotros necesitamos algo de mayonesa? No. We need to buy some. Se dice no. Nosotros tenemos que comprar algo. ¿Sí? Dependiendo de la oración, entonces así se completa y así se trata de darle el significado. We need some onions in this sentence. What is Amanda saying? ¿Nosotros qué? We need some onions too.
También necesitamos cebollas.
Okay, and some onions.
Algunas.
Yes,
Algunas cebollas.
correct. We need some onions too. Nosotros necesitamos algunas cebollas, ¿sí? en esa oración significa algunas. We need some onions too. Adam, I don't want any onions. I hate onions. I hate onions. Entonces, I don't want any onions. No tengo o no deseo, no quiero nada de cebollas. I hate onions. When I say I hate, is the opposite of I love, no? I love or I like, no? The opposite, I hate. I hate onions. Let's get some celery. No, I don't want any celery in my potato salad, but let's put some apples in it. Apples in potato salad, that sounds off, okay? So, do you have any questions about the use of any or some? No? No questions? Okay. Now we are going to do an exercise where you are going to practice. For example, I have a volunteer. I don't know who wants to raise your hand and participate. Anyone who wants to participate? I'm going to ask some questions using how many and how much. Okay, how many and how much. That's all. Okay, Diana, good for you. So I'm going to ask you some questions using how many and how much, and you're going to try to answer them. Let's see. How many brothers do you have? Diana, how many brothers do you have? No, I can't hear you.
There are 2 brothers.
Okay, you're answering there are, but you can answer I have, no? Listen to my question. How many brothers do you have? No? How many brothers do you have? So you can answer I have 3 brothers. I have 2 brothers. Okay. Another one. How many, listen to me, how many cars do you have? Paola. Paola, how many cars do you have?
How many cars? ¿Cuántos carros tengo? Para contestar, pregunto, para contestar cuando de pronto no hay, en el caso de la primera y de esta, ¿cómo se contesta?
Okay.
Nothing.
That's the question.
No porque aquí toca es contestar cuántos, pero si no hay ni carros y en el caso de la pregunta anterior tampoco hay hermanos, ¿cómo?
Okay, that's a good question. For example, I'm saying, how many cars do you have? If you have car, you are going to say, I have, for example, 1 car. Okay. But you have 2 cars. You're going to say, I have 2 cars. That's okay. But, however, you don't have cars. What do you have to say? I don't have cars or a car. I don't have a car. No tengo un car.
Teacher, I have a questions.
Tell me.
Possible I don't have any car?
Yes, that's right. And here you can use this one. I don't have any car. That's a negative sentence, so you can use any. And what I am saying, I don't have any car, yo no tengo ningún car. Yes? Okay, pay
Okay.
attention to that. Now, I'm going to ask to change the question. I'm not going to say, how many cars do you have? I'm going to say, how many cars are there in your garage? The question is different. How many cars are there in the garage, right? Here, I am using are there. So, I am going to answer with are there. Or is there, no? For example, I'm going to answer there is 1 car. And that's okay. Yes. But there is not only one car, there are two cars, so I have to change. There are two cars. Look at the difference, no? How many cars are there in your garage? Okay, in my garage, there is only one car. So I have to use there is. But I don't have one car, I have two. So I'm going to answer, there are two cars. This is plural, so I have to use are. You understand? Is it clear?
Yes.
Okay, so let's do another one. Carolina, do you have a question or are you going to participate?
I am going to participate.
Okay, Carolina, so I'm going to ask you a question. How many bedrooms are there in your house? How many bedrooms are there in your house, Carolina?
In my house,
Okay.
there are 3 bedrooms.
Okay, that's okay. That's okay. Now, you, Carolina, again. I'm going to change a little the question. How many TVs do you have in your bedroom? How many TVs do you have in your bedroom?
I don't have TV in my bedroom.
Okay, that's right. I don't have TV. Or you can say, I don't have any TVs in my bedroom. Okay, and that's okay. Now, I am writing the complete sentence, but if you are going to answer in a real language, you only say, I don't have TVs, or I don't have any TV, okay?
Okay.
Yo lo escribo así completa, pero es solamente por práctica, porque en el lenguaje real, and when I say real language, cuando yo digo el lenguaje real, es como hablamos diariamente, ¿no? Si a uno le preguntan, ¿cuántos televisores tiene en su habitación? Usted no dice, en mi habitación yo tengo 2 televisores. No, usted dice 2 televisores, o yo tengo 2, o yo 1, ¿sí? Okay.
Okay.
Good. Another person who wants to participate? Let's see. Who wants to participate? Who wants to speak? Who wants to answer question? No one? Okay, let me see. Natalia Velázquez from Seada Casillas, Meta.
Yes.
I'm going to ask you. How much yogurt do you have in your fridge? How much yogurt do you have in your fridge, Natalia?
I have some yogurt.
Okay, that's correct. That's perfect. I have some. Okay, you are using some. Perfect. Yo tengo algo, tengo un poco de yogur, ¿sí? I have some yogurt in my fridge. Okay, I'm going to change a little this question, and I'm going to say, how many bottles, oh no, how many beers are there in your fridge? Natalia, it's for you.
Unfortunately, I don't have any beers in my fridge.
How many beers are there in your fridge? Unfortunately, what? Unfortunately, what?
I don't have
I don't have
any beers in my fridge.
any beers in my fridge. In my fridge. Okay, that's right. It's perfect. Okay. Look at this. I'm talking about beers. Beers are countable, so I have to say how many. I am using her there, so she says, I don't have any beers in my fridge, and that's perfect. This is a negative sentence, I don't, so we have to use any, okay? Here, Natalia could answer, tenía otra opción de respuesta, ¿no? Ella iba a decir que no hay, there aren't any beers in my fridge. No hay ninguna cerveza. ¿Ve? Entonces, lo podemos dejar con el any o sin el any. There aren't beers in my fridge. No hay cervezas en mi congelador. Okay, Jimena, it's your turn. Look at this question, Jimena. I'm changing some little things about the questions. How much rice do you usually eat, Jimena? How much rice do you usually eat? Jimena,
Yes, teacher.
tell me.
Yes, teacher. I usually eat rice.
But how much? Remember that I'm asking for you, how much?
Mm,
Are you going to say mucho o poco? Una gran cantidad, ¿qué va a decir?
Little.
Okay, for example, a little. That's good.
A little rice.
Yes. How much rice do you usually eat? I usually eat a little rice. Remember when we say a little, un poquito, un poco. A little rice, poco, a little rice, okay? For example, you're not going to say a little, you're going to say come mucho. I usually eat much rice, okay? Because rice is not countable, so in order to say mucho, you have to use much. How much rice do you usually eat? I usually eat much rice. Good. Okay, and
On the
Jimena,
other, excuse me, on the other option, is it I never
okay, for example,
right?
I never eat rice. You can answer in different ways the question. No tenemos que encasillarnos, o sea, que es que hay una sola manera de contestar, no. For example, how much rice do you usually eat? And you can answer, I never eat rice. Okay? I never eat rice. And that's good. That's a good answer. Okay? That's a good answer. Okay.
Buena question, teacher.
Tell me, Paola.
En este tipo de preguntas, de respuestas también deberían ir incluidas el any o el some.
Es opcional. Puede que sí, puede que no. Si usted quiere usarlo, perfecto. Si no, también.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, and now we're going to finish this exercise with the other use of how much, no? How much. Remember that how much, I suppose that in the previous level, I have already explained it that. How much is the house? There is another meaning, another use for how much, and this is an example of that. When I ask, how much is the house? What does it mean?
¿Cuánto cuesta?
Yes, that's right. ¿Cuánto cuesta? Remember that. Ese how much tiene otro significado de preguntar cuánto, ¿cierto? O cuántos para cantidades. Y es para preguntar el precio de algo. Pero ese se utiliza entonces solamente con el verbo to be. Am, is, are, ¿no? En este caso con el is o el are, dependiendo de lo que estemos hablando, sea singular o plural. Acá, como se dan cuenta, no va is there or are there, no, es how much is. ¿Cuánto vale? ¿Cuánto cuesta? Y utilizamos el is si estamos hablando de una sola cosa, the house. For example, we are not talking about the house, but the houses. So I have to change. How much are the houses? So, ¿cuánto cuestan? ¿Cuánto valen las casas? Yeah. And in order to answer this type of question, you use the verb to be. How much is the house? How much is the house? And the answer, the house is 40 millions, for example. And that's all. The house is 40 million. In English, in order to say the price of something, you can use the verb to be. The house is 40 million. No? You can go to a store, to a shop, and you are looking for some clothes, and you like a shirt, no, a shirt. So you want to know the price. How much is the shirt? How much is the shirt? ¿Cuánto vale? ¿Cuánto vale la camisa?
Teacher, y para preguntar sobre esa, ¿sería that?
Okay, for example, how much is that shirt? Cuando la estamos señalando, ¿no? Bueno, acá ya viene una diferencia que es el this, es cuando la tenemos como en la mano y cerca, ¿no? How much is this shirt? Es cuánto vale esta camisa que la tenemos acá, ¿no? Pero si de pronto no la tenemos acá, sino que está allá colgada, entonces decimos how much is that shirt, ¿no? La diferencia de esto es que this, cuando la tenemos cerca, that, la tenemos lejos. ¿Cuánto vale esta camisa? Okay. How much is that shirt? And we can answer this. That shirt is 100,000 pesos. O simplemente it is 100,000.
Profe, perdón, esa respuesta, ¿cómo se traduce? ¿Esa camisa está en 100.000 pesos, por ejemplo? ¿Sí? ¿Esta? ¿Sería esta?
No, vale. En este caso, el
Vale.
verbo to be es el is o el are, es vale. That
Traduce
shirt
el-
is
Vale.
100,000. Entonces, esa camisa vale 100,000.
Ok.
It is, en vez de decir that shirt, I can replace that shirt for it. Simplemente it. Vale 100,000 pesos. Remember that this one is Colombian pesos, no? Does it mean COP, Colombian pesos? Okay. In order to be clear about that. So, remember, how much?
Teacher,
A preguntar
excuse me.
cantidades. Con el verbo to be, is o are, entonces es preguntar el precio, ¿no? El precio. Okay, tell me, Jimena.
Yes. Teacher, ¿se puede decir pesos?
Yes.
O sea, si uno decir, por ejemplo, o sea, digamos, para responder, no, sino que uno puede decir pesos.
Yes, you can say that shirt is 100,000 pesos. Only
Okay.
100,000 pesos. Okay, but I am writing here in order for you to know. No, yo solamente, o sea, ustedes pueden decir pesos. Lo que yo les coloco acá, Colombian pesos, COP, para que tengan en cuenta eso, porque eso, pues, si ustedes van a hacer una compra en línea, siempre les va a aparecer eso. Es para que sepan cuando les aparezca eso, qué es lo que significa, ¿no? Que ahí están pagando en pesos, ¿no? Si les aparece así, entonces quiere decir que son dólares, ¿no? Que el valor que aparece ahí es en dólares. Solamente es por eso que yo les coloco acá el COP, Colombian pesos. But if you're going to say that with pesos, it's correct. 100,000 pesos. That's okay. Lina, you have a question?
Yes, teacher. En la tarea, entonces nos pregunta el presupuesto para el viaje, entonces yo coloqué 2 millones de pesos. ¿Sería correcto decir entonces 2 million COP o pesos?
No, pesos. 2 million,
Pesos,
2 million pesos.
millón
That's-
pesos. Ah, ok, gracias.
Pero ustedes van a decir, voy a gastar o voy a llevar, I am going to take 2 million pesos. I'm going to take 2 million pesos. So I'm going to spend, voy a gastar, I'm going to spend 2 million pesos. That's okay. So you have to take into account that sometimes how much. Entonces, y en muchas ocasiones, ¿no? Vamos a encontrar ese how much, pero es para preguntar el valor, el precio de algo, ¿no? El valor o el precio de algo. Es importante que ustedes lo tengan en cuenta. Ok. Questions. And I'm going to this. And we are going to finish today's lesson with a video. I'm going to try. Vamos a probar si esta vez me funciona el video porque la vez pasada no me quiso funcionar. Let me see here, this one. Going to stop sharing this and I'm going to. Por favor, me confirman si ven y escuchan el video.
Yes, teacher.
When life is chaotic, every meal can feel like a
Yes.
struggle.
Perfect.
¿Lo ven y lo escuchan, no?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, you can watch and listen to the video. We are going to watch this video is 3 minutes and 55 seconds. And we are going to watch without subtitles, only in English, no more. Okay, let's play.
When life is chaotic, every meal can feel like a struggle. But whether I'm flat out with the kids or work, this lunch covers all bases.
Okay, and please pay attention to some things. Pay attention to food. What food is she talking about? Vamos a ponerle cuidado a alimentos que menciona ella. Alimentos que menciona ella. Okay? And some verbs y algunos verbos que ella utiliza para cocinar, verbs to cook. Okay? Let's play again.
I can't think of a single ingredient that's as fast or as flexible as eggs. And I love mushrooms because I quite like that meaty texture. And these rolls with fresh mushrooms are a total godsend when I want to rustle something up in a rush. My cracking egg rolls with mushrooms are a brilliant alternative to a boring old sandwich, but still only take minutes. These rolls are like an omelette that have been wrapped in a tortilla. Beat 3 eggs to start the omelette center. And then I'm gonna add dried parsley. Now, I love dried herbs. So this stuff, I think it gets a bad rep, still get that lovely flavor, so why not? And garlic granules. Sometimes I just cannot be bothered to chop garlic. You know, you just need 1 or maybe 2. This is what you need. Banking store-cupboard staples like this will give your cooking an instant flavor boost. Season with salt and pepper. That's it, that's my eggs done. Are you with me? Can you see how quick, like, this is happening? I love mushrooms, they cook so quickly. And they're packed full of deep umami flavor. You can use any type of mushroom. If I don't have any fresh mushrooms in, I'll just use the canned stuff or frozen, whatever, all of it works. And then tortilla wraps. This is the bit that kind of like holds your eggy, omelette-y bit together. And then I've got my tomato paste. Now you could use normal tomato paste, but this is sun-dried tomato paste, so it's sweeter. That's gonna pack a massive punch of flavor. Just because we're cooking fast, it doesn't mean we're compromising on flavor. Let's get some oil in there. Oil's hot. Egg in. Eggs take seconds to cook, so they're perfect when you're rushing. You can see the eggs just cooking around the edge. And then I'm going to add my mushrooms. So just a few. And then olives. Like, I want to cook really quickly, but I want lots of flavor, and black olives are perfect for that. You get that lovely salty kind of hit. I'm going to take my tortilla with the sun-dried tomato paste and then turn it round and stick it on top. Just kind of use your hands to just glue it together. That's it. Just don't touch it. Just leave it. Let it do its thing. After just 30 seconds, flip it over. Look at that. Can you smell that? No, you can't smell that. I can, though. Fried tortilla. That's good, right? Let's do another one. In. And you'll see, once you start doing this, you're going to start a production line. You'll be making more than 3. You'll be doing like 10. You can do this with tomatoes, onions, cheese, ham. The options are endless. And here's where the roll comes in. So we'll go. Not bad, is it? My crispy fried egg rolls bursting with sun-dried tomato paste, black olives and mushrooms with a cheeky time-saving bonus. What I love about these is that you can make a load up, stick them in the fridge, and they're perfect for lunch the next day. And that one is going to roll straight into my mouth because somebody's got to eat it. That beats any sandwich, any day of the week.
Okay, let's see. Okay, what words did you understand related to food? No, what words did you understand related to food?
Eggs,
Eggs, okay, what else?
mushroom,
Champions.
Mushrooms,
sandwich,
no, I don't remember. I'm not sure. I think she doesn't say sandwich like this.
tortilla,
Tortilla, yes. Remember that the double
butter,
Perejil?
sorry. Okay, but how do you say perejil in English?
Mm, mm,
Ketchup.
mm.
No. There is a word that is too many times. Tomatoes.
butter,
Tomatoes.
Onions.
Onions. Okay,
Champiñones.
mushrooms.
mu-
Those are mushrooms. Champiñones, mushrooms.
butter,
Butter.
salt,
Okay, salt and
Oil,
pepper.
aceite, oil.
Oil, yes. Okay, so
Teacher,
Yes.
dip the tomato
yes,
salsa.
okay, tomato sauce.
salt,
Ketchup.
You can say
Ketchup.
tomato sauce,
Ketchup.
but this is not ketchup. Ketchup is different. Ketchup, this ketchup es la salsa de tomate la que venden ya embotellada y le echa uno al perro, a las hamburguesas, ¿no? This tomato sauce, esta es la salsa de tomate que se le pone, por ejemplo, a las pizzas, ¿no?
Como
la
la
base de-
pasta de tomate.
Exacto. Okay. So, what happened here?
Migas de pan, bread,
Bread.
olives, and bread.
Okay. If I ask you if it is British or American English, what do you answer? You can know? You can understand if it's British or American English? What she speaks?
British,
British. That's British. You have to start identifying the accent. Ustedes tienen que aprender a identificar el acento. Para nosotros, casi en general, podemos decir que todos los colombianos, nosotros estamos más acostumbrados a escuchar el inglés americano, entonces se nos hace más fácil. Este es inglés británico, es un poco más complejo en cuanto a la pronunciación, ¿no? Por ejemplo, ¿cómo identificamos nosotros si es inglés americano o inglés británico? Con una palabra como esta. En inglés americano ellos dicen tomato. En inglés británico ellos dicen tomato. Tomato. Yes. Y así con varias palabras. Por ejemplo, ellos dicen butter. Butter. Y en inglés americano, butter. Butter. Esto es como una, esa doblete la pronuncian como una R. Butter, ¿no? Ok. I'm going to share with you the link of the video in order for you to watch it. Voy a compartir el video por si quieren verlo. Y recuerden que o sea, ejercicios que pueden hacer como estos. Le comparto nuevamente mi pantalla. Por ejemplo, este video o los videos en inglés, primero los escuchan así, en inglés sin subtítulos. ¿Sí? Ustedes cuando ven un video, entonces no solamente están escuchando y no están viendo, entonces ustedes saben, no, le está haciendo, no es como un audio solamente, ¿no? Porque ustedes tienen ahí el apoyo del video, entonces sabe que está haciendo una receta, sabe que le echó huevos, que le echó sal y pimienta, que le echó, ustedes ya se ubican, ¿no? Pero entonces la segunda vez que lo van a escuchar, cogen allá, ahí me están viendo, ¿cierto? Lo que estoy haciendo.
Yes, teacher.
Me colocan
Yes.
subtítulos y los colocan, mire, ahí está, inglés. La ponen otra vez,
When life is chaotic,
mire.
Teacher, perdón,
Señora,
teacher, sino que yo veo borroso la imagen. No sé si solo soy yo.
¿no la ven clara?
Yo la veo bien.
Yo también lo
Bueno,
veo bien.
Igual.
listo. Entonces, mira, ya están escuchando y van comparando con lo que van viendo ahí, ¿sí? When life is chaotic, every meal can feel like a struggle. ¿Sí? Y ya pueden seguir. Y ya
every meal can feel like a struggle.
van
But whether I'm
palabras, ¿no? Van entendiendo muchas más palabras de las que ustedes vieron. De las que ustedes en la primera vez escucharon, ya van a escuchar, van a entender muchas más. ¿Ok? Ahora, ustedes terminaron ahí y también pueden verlos, miren, traducir automáticamente y van a buscar en español. Y también les va a aparecer entre los subtítulos, pero ya con la traducción en español. Van a tener el audio en inglés y en español para que vayan haciendo la comparación. Es un ejercicio que ustedes hacen para que vayan entendiendo. Ahora, ahí, ¿qué hacen? Practicar la pronunciación. Van escuchando cómo pronuncian las palabras, van aprendiendo pronunciación. Van a escuchar lo que dicen y van a ubicarse en ciertas palabras, términos, vocabulario relacionado con eso, ¿no? Por ejemplo, con la cocina. Ahí ustedes van a ver entonces cómo se dice doblar, cómo se dice agregar, cosas así, ¿no? Ese tipo de ejercicios son bastante útiles para ustedes. Ahí en el chat les compartí el link del video por si alguno lo quiere ver. And it's 8:13, so the time is up. Entonces, terminamos por el día de hoy. That's all for today. And see you next Tuesday at 7 p.m. Okay? So,
Okay.
have a good night. Sweet dreams.
Have a good night too.
Rest. Okay, bye-bye, guys. I'm going to...
Bye.
Thank you. Take
Thank
care.
you.